Hello and welcome to today's video. We're going to cover patch 15.7 just real quick. With League, every 2 weeks the rules change. So this set of rules really affected the jungle role. We had about 6 or 7 champions, it could have been even 8, that you could consider jungle related on this patch. At least based simply off of buffs, nerfs, and adjustments. I do not get into the nitty gritty of how strong a buff is, how weak a nerf is, itemization, ruins, and things like that. I just try and keep it pretty easy because the majority of the player base and the majority of the people that watch are not going to be challenger level players. So let's just look at it pretty simply, especially with champion pools. With Fearless coming as a a standard, this sort of stuff matters even more because now you have to be more open-minded as a player, as a coaching staff, when you are playing in a fearless setting, because now, shoot, in a best of 5, you got to play 5 different champions. Things might be nerfed. All of a sudden, you're digging deep into your champion pool, figuring out what you're going to play. And maybe that champion that was just buffed is now an option. You've played it before. Throw caution to the wind, right? So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it now, even more so with the fearless setting. Now, this patch did not affect the 80 carry role at all, at least champion-wise. Support, barely. Mid, barely. Top lane, we had 5 champions, but the jungle role was a big portion of this. 15-6 was 80 carry. This one's jungle. So, in terms of a buff, if a player played at 4% of their games over the last 2 years, and so season 13, 14, and 15, 4%, 1 out of every 25 games, it's going to appear on here. And if it's a nerf, a player had to play it 1 out of 10 games in season 15. That's implying, hey, this champion's been nerfed and this player's been playing it. Therefore, it might have been nerfed out of the champion pool, and that's going to harm that team. So we have the teams that are most impacted on the board. Fnatic, happy to see this patch. Oscarinen is a big Olaf player. There aren't more than a handful or so players on the 60 teams in the world's qualifying regions that play as much Olaf as Oscarinen does. So if Olaf's been buffed enough, we may see it. Brand and Ivern, both played by Razork. You'd be surprised how many players did not make the Brand or Ivern buff threshold in Lol Esports, given how much we feel like we saw Brand and Ivern last season and even Ivern the year before. So Razork happy. But Yone, nerfed. Humanoid played quite a bit of Yone this season thus far, and it's been nerfed. Is it a massive nerf? Like I said, I don't get in the nitty gritty, but it has been nerfed. Leviton, Brandon Ivern, both played by Scary. We'll see how Scary does. Leviton did very well in LTA South in winter. Vikings Esports, so Brand and Shen. So Brand's been buffed, a pick that Guri has made in the past, and then Shen has been buffed. Not necessarily a support buff, but Shen can be played in support. And, well, Sulong played it twice this season. And because he's only played 32 games, that meets the threshold of 4%. There are a handful of other players or so that have played Shen at all the last 3 years in the support role, but nobody makes the threshold but Sulong. And then Pain Gaming of LTA South. Weiser's Olaf has been picked enough to make this list. Ivern also picked by Kuroka. So there are 2 champions for Pain Gaming that are buffed. Now that doesn't mean that we know Robo plays a lot of Olaf for Loud, but Loud across the entirety of this patch do not come out at a +2, so they're not on the board. The teams that are most harmed, the majority are LPL teams. Why? Because the LPL has played the most over the last couple weeks. They pretty much played all but, 3? Well, LEC played quite a bit, I guess, this past weekend. But they played on 15-6, 15-5, and thus played a lot of Neferi. Neferi has been nerfed a bit, and it's unfortunate. In terms of quality of play on the Rift, I'm not looking at it that way. I'm just happy to see that a different champion has been in the meta over the last month or so, at least the last couple weeks, where we didn't really have, that it had only been played once, I think, as a joke by Fisher last season. So it was nice to see it. But FPX, so Sheer played a good amount of Gwen so far this season, and that's been nerfed. Nefari, like I said, played by Shadow, and nerfed. Nongshim Red Force of LCK. We're seeing a Lilia and a Yone nerf. Gideon played quite a bit of Lilia thus far this season, and Fisher played enough Yone that a nerf could affect his champion pool. OMG of the LPL, Gwen being played by Harry, Yone being played by Linfeng. Both are, well, they're both nerfed. And OMG need all the help they can get. -3. Now, these two teams, -3 is a chunk. It definitely is impactful. Gwen being nerfed. Jiang in top lane I guess Gwen. Jiang plays for Ultra Prime. Sasa and Jiang, both receiving Gwen nerfs. It's unfortunate. Sasa, very good player. I expect him to get past this and do quite well. That kid is much better than I expected to start the season. Nefari nerfed for Climber. Played quite a bit in Nefari. And then Yone nerfed for XQW. So LGD, a lot of work to be done here. And then Ultra Prime Lilia nerfed for Junhao. And Yone nerfed for Saber. So, I mean, really, if you think about it, the teams that are nerfed on here, they're in that bottom half. Well, no, FPXs, I guess, they are in Group Nirvana, aren't they? So the rest are in Ascend, and then you have Nongshim, who did pretty well in Winter. We're going to find out if that was an aberration or not. It's definitely a thing. And then in terms of buffs, I mean, we have a couple LTA South teams on there, so we'll see if this helps them long term, over the next 2 months or so. You look in the patch notes, and like I said, I don't like getting in the nitty gritty of things, but clearly they want Brand back in the meta in some way. And if that's going to be the case, carry-oriented junglers become a thing again, and all of a sudden we get, we're going to see more AD mids. Yone's getting, messed around with. What ends up happening, there's going to be a ripple effect. So, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content, follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.